Okay, so you can see this is the example thumbnail sketch, kind of the four rings. They're touching but overlapping. This is the section for the circle on a square or a square in perspective, giving the cross, finding all the pieces a third of the distance in from the diagonal. Okay, so looking at that, I'm just going to imitate the same section here. So I'm just taking the horizon line there, and I can use this paper on this sketch or whatever measurement I take, line it up to the bottom of the paper, and make that mark. Set this off to the side, take the straight edge, and just go ahead and mark this. So take a look. Once you get it started, when I look at this as assistance here, I just have this rectangular shape just above it. So I'm going to place it above this section here, because I just need to get started with one rectangular piece and then start to do the measuring. And you'll see how it wraps around, so it's pretty easy once I go. I'll do it lightly but heavy enough. So here's making sure everything is accurate as I can. Here's the line segment. And now I'm just going to go to the vanishing point. Again, the vanishing point is going to be where it intersects the paper, the horizon line, left and right. So just lightly put a line. And now I estimate, taking a look at this initial beginning, here's the horizon line right here. And now I just look and say, well, I'm going to make it about this big here, right there. Okay? So see how that works. So just put the point right there to make the first rectangular shape in perspective. And now just quickly cross the diagonals. Now I'm just going to do a light line to actually cross them because I want them to intersect at least on one part of this. Okay? And I just have to make 3 more. If you remember from the midpoint, and I'll just give this a vanishing point. This is what we did before. So from this top to the midpoint here is going to indicate the second rectangular spot for the circle. And just rotate that around. Make that go straight up. And just try to be accurate with it. So I'm going to do it 3 times because I just need 3 of them. So just repeat that section right there. And go vertically up. Okay. And pretty much have most of it completed. I have the diagonals. I have the corners. Now I'm just going to look at this one line segment right here and kind of estimate if I had to divide that into thirds. So this outside point is the one I want. And I'm just going to line this up. You can see that it's going to connect all the way through. But before I do that, I'm just going to cross the diagonals for the next 2, just so I have it. So there's one. There's the second one. And cross this over. So now I can pinpoint all these sections right here. Okay. Vertical's going up. But here's the third. So I'm just going to do the third of it first. Doesn't matter which order. Make sure it's lined up to the vanishing point, and just put an intersection on the diagonal lines. Try not to get confused with any previous lines that you have there. This measurement up at the top, all you have to do is project it vertically. So make it perpendicular to the bottom 90-degree angle right there. There's the section. Line this up, and here's the point. So now I have the thirds, the centers. I just need the tops, and those I have to do individually because they don't match up with anybody, but I'm just going to line that up carefully there. And I'm going to extend that because that's going to be used for helping me find the bottom 2 circles. So I know ahead of time, so I'm just going to draw that in there. And the reason is because I did it already. So here's these 2 lines coming down are actually the center lines that'll hold the bottom 2 circles. So now I have all of these pieces. So I'm just going to freehand sketch this in. This is going to go right from the top center, and you can actually see where they locate. Now again, these are 3 kind of octagon shapes. As long as you get the mechanical part of it listed, it's going to show up just perfectly. So there's 1, 1, 2, 5, 6. Right, like that. And coming across again, finding that third of the space. Okay, so there they are, 3 kind of octagons. And again, if you lightly sketch this in, so I'm just going to kind of rapidly place that in there. Here's the curve. And keep in mind, this is with the assumption, all this geometry, that it's in perspective, so it has an illusion to it. Just make sure it touches the bottom part of that, and that gives you the first segment. Okay? So that'll be for the top part. The second one, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to try to take this rectangular shape and project it down. And if you remember, to help you do that, you're just using the same way you did the 3, only if you can visualize this, this is the square, here's the midpoint, and here's the corner of it. And if you can line this up at least, you can kind of see where it belongs. So here's the rectangular shape. So if I can extend this down, you can kind of see this is the shape. I just have to go to the right vanishing point to finish up the bottom. So it gets a little tricky, but there it is. So here's a rectangle, and here's a rectangle. I almost have it drawn, and like I said, I'm just going to extend some of these points down the middle because I'm overlapping these pieces. So you kind of have to keep your visual section with you. It gets a little crazy in there. And again, I'm dividing this into thirds. Here's the diagonal. And if I can finish off these diagonal lines here, this will give me the shape I'm looking for. So this connects to this side. So if I just draw some of this in, you'll hopefully begin to see the connecting of the dots coming across there. So here's that particular section. Okay. So again, the third gets to project itself up here. Once it finds itself across here, line it up to the right vanishing point and see if you can see the diagonals, hopefully. And again, here's the shape. Let's come up here. It's coming around. So here's the base of it. This one, this one. This one didn't extend yet. So that's where that guy's going to be. So now you have the bottom set of rings. Now if I curve this and just wrap it around, try to get a nice freehand curve in there. And there you have it. Now the only part you have to do now is to finish off the inside section like this. So I'm taking a thickness that's about that size, okay, and wrapping it around. It's going to get smaller as it goes back, so you're putting this down as a little bit of an arbitrary piece. And then the last part is making the thickness of it on the other side. So I'm going to start off, a tangent is the outer edge point of this to the vanishing point. So I'm just kind of estimating that piece right there. Let's see if I can't throw that on there to all the points that are there. Some are pretty close down here to the vanishing point and the horizon line. And go to the top piece. So here's the edge coming to that top section right there. Okay, so now here's another part that's free, and you want to keep it as much of a curve as you can, and just kind of fill in that section right there. This is where you're kind of doing some freehand sketching here. See how well you can bring that together. Okay, so far it's at the outline. This is the kind of a scratchy pen line. I'm going to try to do it a little cleaner, but that's the outside edge. And then you go to take the pen and see if you can't head those lines up a little bit. So again, as you're doing this, you'll move your paper around so you get a nice clean line there. See where the overlap comes in. And you've kind of drawn this out in pencil, so you now have a preliminary sketch for it. And again, try to move the paper to give you the best outer edge there for you. And the shadow part. I'm kind of rotating the paper to give myself the best linear representation of this. And come back with the straight line to help me clean it up. And then I just do a little bit of erasing, start with my coloring, and then I'll have that entire piece set up.